Did that work?
Yes, it did. And this is the beginning of our math video. Our project was about Froot Loops. We took 200 handfuls. Well, I took 200 handfuls of them. I divided them into each color. And all the colors are purple, green, blue, orange, red, and yellow. I'm very good at counting. And
I was naming your colors.
same thing. But we divided up all the colors, found which ones were more frequent and which ones were least frequent, and found, yes, we found inaccuracies with a human.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Talk about inaccuracies, Josh.
Oh, well, at least one of the things that I found is one of the website that I was using to make histograms, or attempt to at least, it was kind of the numbers that I would type the number in, and it would take a couple seconds for it to appear on the screen. So there may have been a couple of numbers that were inaccurate just for the simple fact that I may not have caught the fact that they had been typed incorrectly. But for the most part, unless I missed just a ton of numbers, it shouldn't vary too much from the actual
data.
Yeah.
And my inaccuracy was when you added up all the handfuls, you got a different number from when you added up all the colors. And those should have added up to the same exact thing. And I'm going to update on my computer. Hold on. And when that's not like, well, it is my fault, but it's not surprising because I'm a human. I don't sit there and count things like immediately 100% correct. Another thing we noticed was when we were doing histograms, most of them were either really chunky, like you had a lower one and then a higher one and then a lower one.
Very,
but then another high one and then a really low one.
Varied.
Yeah.
I was going to say very varied.
Very varied. But it wasn't exactly a center skew or skewed to the left or skewed to the right. It was just kind of chunky.
Randomized.
Yeah, chunky and randomized. But others of them were all skewed to the left.
I'd say a majority of them were probably skewed to the left.
A majority of them, yes. And some of them had like super duper high numbers. Like the ones I did, I found like, oh God, there's a lot of green and blue and purples.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had numbers as high as like 14 greens and a handful of like 30 something. But then oranges, you would find like anywhere from like 1 to about 7. So there was not really much to go on in those. And Josh did red and also yellow, but red we're going to talk about for the sake of our sanity. And what did you find?
It's found that they were mostly veering to the left, and I feel like it was just because there were a couple of handfuls that were surprisingly much like 20 to 30
Reds.
Froot Loops bigger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 20 to 30 pieces of cereal bigger than the majority of the others. Just because I guess felt like grabbing larger handfuls at that point. And so that's what really made the overall data skew to the left, because you would have this big gap of just nothing, 20 to 30.
That was the highest. Like 20 to 30 was like all the way up there. But then I had one handful of like 70 something, and it was like, duh. So it made up a part of the data, and then caused it like, it's basically an outlier.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's the perfect word for it.
Here we go. Math. And the rest of our experiment is actually being filmed separately by Ethan and Amber because all of our schedules conflicted really, really badly. And we weren't able to all get together at the same time. So since Josh and I had work that was really related, we did this part, and you'll see in Ethan and Amber's videos things about box and whisker plots, percentages, and basically the Excel data. Thank you very much. See you later, Mr. Grade.